You still had like 30 seconds.
Well, that's fine.
All right, brother, put your joint on mute. Brother JJ, you got 15 minutes, 3 minutes
Yeah.
to rebuttal. And then when you hear this sound, JJ, that means your 15 minutes will begin.
All right.
All
All
right,
right,
go on
everybody.
mute, Tahuti. All right, brother JJ, let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Time will start. Go.
All right. It's obvious that this brother right here, Tehuti, do not know history. Because you said you talking about the Council of Alexandria. The Council of Alexandria started in 231 A.D. as a council of bishops and priests that met at Alexandria, Egypt, called by Bishop Demetrius for the purpose of declaring or origin of Alexandria. You see what I'm saying? Unworthy of the office and to be a teacher. So what I'm saying, you're going to have to prove to me about this Council of Alexandria. Because it started in you don't know history. It started in 231 AD, Tehuti. What council is you talking about? And like I said, everybody, Tehuti wants to put all the burden of proof on me. I didn't show you scripts of the language. I didn't show you how they preserved it. All Tehuti do it, he ain't showed not one Greek scholar, not one Greek scribe that wrote this down. And in the beginning of the debate, everybody, he said that was his source. Do not forget that. You can't take that back because it's recorded, bro. You said that was your source, a fake source. So outside of your fake source, what do you have to show that Greeks did this? Where's the Greeks that's writing this without Hebrew help? Because even in your fake letter, it says Israelites help them translate it.
Or
Let's get
even
back to the
putting it
reading, man.
together.
Because this dude he's full of magic and tricks and bells and whistles. All right? Now, the Septuagint is in many ways associated with the translation into Greek of the first 5 books of the Old Testament, Genesis through Deuteronomy, commonly known among the scholars as the Pentateuch, within the Israelite Jewish community. Traditionally, historically, the Septuagint, strictly defined, was considered the Greek translation of the Pentateuch, a translation. Scholars generally recognize that the Greek Pentateuch was the first translation of the Hebrew Bible. It is the earliest and probably occurred sometime in the mid-3rd century BCE, and it was completed within the Israelite living community in Ptolemy Alexandria. This was the time right after the Persian Empire, where the Greek Empire has to come into prominence, led by Alexander the Greek, who began to Hellenicize and spread Greek culture and language through the Mediterranean world. And one of the effects is that initially in the Jew community was to translate their scripture into Greek. And that began with the Pentateuch. We also have Paleo-Hebrew Levite scrolls known as the 11Q Paleo-Leviticus. It's an ancient text preserved in one of the Quorum groups of the caves, and which provides a rare glimpse of the script used formerly by the nation of Israel in writing. Okay, all right, that's it for my 3 minutes, right? Well, okay, now, this script was used formerly by the nation of Israel in writing Torah scrolls during pre-exilic history. That's Jonathan Siegel, 1979, page 28. The Paleo-Hebrew script was the only alphabet used by the Israelites. This was prior to the destruction of the first temple. So we also know that we had Hebrew scrolls down with them in Alexandria. They had the scrolls with them, Tehuti.
They had the scrolls
What
with
you
them,
thought?
Tahuti.
This
The
is where they got the
72
information from.
Israelite
They had the
elders.
scrolls with them. The first 5 books is just the beginning of the story. Let's talk about the other 34 books. I know you would smile and laugh and kiki and caca and pet your snake, because you're getting cooked right now. These translations were also made in the Israelite communities, mostly centered in Kemet, over the following number of centuries, Tehuti, possibly into the 1st and 2nd century AD. The Septuagint wasn't complete till after the ADs, bro. And like I said, your Council of Alexandria started in, 231 AD. You don't know history.
You don't know history,
You don't know history, buddy. All right. And then, like I said, you got to prove that this Alexandria library even existed. You got to prove that the Greeks, scribes and scholars were out here writing this. I got more proof and more evidence showing how the language is preserved. and passed down. What do you have to bring to the table? Besides a goddamn dead looking ass spider and a snake. That's all you bringing, bro, and conjecture, and lies, and magic tricks. I ain't gonna let you do it. Now let's keep it moving, bro. Now there were individual scrolls of individual books that were translated, then distributed after the tradition of translation springs into life in the 3rd century AD in the Israelite community of Hellenistic Egypt. You have further books being translated, but as new books are being translated from a Hebrew scroll into the Greek scroll, you have that books then being copied by hand, one copy at a time, and then used or duplicated and distributed in a variety of ways. And in that process, we see the different type of processes unfold. On one hand, you have the traditional tradition that that the God is to copy just as it was wrote, preserved. And on other times, we have tendencies towards revising and improving the Greek translation according to the number of criteria that we may or may not fully understand. But as the whole Septuagint, quote unquote, as it was coming into existence over the following centuries, Tehuti, ending in the ADs, books that were already in existence in Greek already had been translated, beginning to be revised at a fairly early stage, as other books left were not yet translated or will be translated in future centuries. So, like I said, bro, it's so we have repetition or copying. The Greek texts of the Old Testament were copied over time, revision, improvements, and at that time, the Jewish scholars also updated and improved the translation of several books in the Old Testament. Yeah, it might not say the same back then because they update stuff, Tehuti.
See, there it is. I mean, he explained how the book came to be. And that is how the book came to be.